Discover the truth in His Word.
Did you know that this very morning, people just like you got up in paradise and took showers, ate breakfast, and drove to work? And do you know that people in hell did the very same thing? Of course, we're talking about Paradise, California, and Hell, Michigan. And yes, there is a Hell, Michigan, in case that's hard to believe. It even snows in hell. But today, we want to talk about the hell most of us have grown up hearing about. The place where supposedly really bad people go when they die. The place where sinners burn in eternal flames that never quite consume them. A place presided over by the devil himself. A recent issue of U.S. News and World Report revealed some very interesting things about the topic of hell. The lead article focused on what the American people thought or speculated about the place where no one will ever get cold. Hell was a subject that received much attention during the 19th and the first part of the 20th century. Preachers used to vie with each other to see who could preach the hottest hell. And they thought the hotter their hell, the more converts to Christianity they could count on. The devil must have listened with glee to those discourses. The famous Puritan preacher Jonathan Edwards had this to say during one of his lectures. "The pit is prepared. The fire is made ready. The furnace is now hot, ready to receive them. The flames do now rage and glow. The glittering sword is whet and held over them, and the pit has opened her mouth unto them. O sinner, consider the fearful danger you are in." U.S. News and World Report, January 31st, 2000. No doubt Edwards struck fear into the hearts of the New Englanders. The threat of hell has served as a potent incentive to refrain from evil and to cling to faith. The stakes were made clear by Edwards and the others. There was a hell to shun, and a heaven to gain. Hell and its flaming torments were made ever so real. In a poll taken by U.S. News and World Report, it was discovered that 64% of those polled believed that there was a hell. 25% said that they did not believe in hell, and 9% said they did not know. Where do you stand on this subject? Scores of people have turned away from Christianity because of a false understanding of God and hell. Ingersoll, the famous skeptic, is supposed to have said that he hated God because of a false understanding of what hell was all about. He had been told by his father that infants not over a span long would burn forever in hell. There are three things we need to know at the beginning of this subject. Number one, God is not a destroyer. Satan is. Number two, God is not to blame for sin and suffering. Satan is. Number three, God does not burn people in hell forever and ever. Does that shock you? Please listen carefully and prayerfully before you reach a conclusion. Would a God who gave His only begotten Son to die on the cross, a God who said He was not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance, 2 Peter 3:9, burn sinners forever in the fires of hell because they fail to accept His salvation? That's a good question. Many sincere people have turned from Christianity because they could not harmonize these two contrasting pictures of God's character and justice so commonly taught. However, the real question to be answered is, where in the Bible is such a doctrine of eternal fiery torment to be found? And the amazing answer is that it simply isn't there. As you turn the pages of the Bible, you will discover that, yes, it talks about hell, a literal, burning hell, but not the kind pictured to frighten people into becoming Christians. Let's turn to the New Testament and discover what Jesus taught about the fate of the unsaved or the wicked. One day, while he was teaching by the Sea of Galilee, a crowd pressed in to listen to him. Seeking a spot where everyone could see and hear him, Jesus got into a boat and pushed out a little from the shore. Nearby, men were sowing in their fields. Jesus could watch them as they worked. Directing the attention of the people to the fields, he spoke several parables. One concerned the fate of the unsaved. The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came, and sowed tares among the wheat. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. Matthew 13:24-28. The servants wanted to pull out the tares, but the master said, In time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Verse 30. Later the disciples came and asked Jesus to explain the parable to them. So Jesus said, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Verses 37-39. Now notice what Jesus said. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. Verse 40. According to Jesus, punishment will come at the end of the world. That is when the tares, or the wicked, will be gathered and burned. This is a future date. The fires of hell are not burning now. The wicked who have died certainly are not being punished in the fires of hell now. Peter wrote, The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. 2 Peter 2:9. So you see that according to the Bible, when a man dies, he does not go immediately to his reward. He must first be judged and sentenced. Doesn't that make sense? Isn't that the only fair way? Think for a moment. Would a just God send a person to suffer in hell and then centuries later call him up to stand trial to see if he deserved that punishment? Would that be justice? Hardly. The teaching that a man goes immediately to heaven or hell at death undermines God's love and justice. Small wonder that God is so misunderstood and feared. Job tells us what happens when a man dies. Yet shall he be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb. Job 21:32. And notice what Job said concerning the wicked who die. Do ye not know that the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction? They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Job 21:29-30. You see, when Jesus comes back to this earth, he will reward every man. The Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Matthew 16:27. The Bible teaches that unrepentant sinners will be punished. How could it be otherwise? In courts, justice demands that lawbreakers be punished according to the laws of the land. Yet God does not enjoy the punishment of the wicked, as some preachers have stated. In fact, Isaiah calls it his strange act. See Isaiah 28:21. However, a God of justice has no other choice. The inhabitants of earth rebelled against God's government of love. They refused to obey his laws, and sin has its penalty. The wages of sin is death. Romans 6:23. Please notice that God's heart of love goes out to mankind. For as Peter wrote, the Lord is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. 2 Peter 3:9. God gave his own Son to die in our place on Calvary's cross to satisfy the claims of a broken law. For this reason, no one need to perish. But in God's government, everyone has perfect freedom either to accept or to reject the forgiveness and salvation of God. A loving, compassionate God urges man to choose salvation. I have set before you life and death. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Deuteronomy 30:19.